right, 4:10 p.m. is the time. I am Kala Dakurubatabon. You're listening to Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info. It's time for us to push the conversation forward, even though I can't seem to shake off, the story of the DSS and the Customs Service fighting over Emefiele. I just can't seem to shake that conversation off. I'm going to try, because I've got another conversation that I think you and I should have. It's a solid conversation. It's about the Niger Delta. And before I introduce my guest, I'm just going to go quickly into telling you the background story. Now, I do not know if you remember last week Monday to be precise, when the former governor speaking made a comment about the NDDC, yes, the commission. And he labeled the commission a cash cow. And in that story, he was talking about how the commission can help develop the Niger Delta. I remember a lot of you calling. Was it in the morning show? I cannot remember, but a lot of you made comment and said yes, and you went back to the forensic audit. You talked about it, and if I do remember, the former Attorney General had said about 6 trillion naira was used or given to the NDDC between 2001 and 2019. I also remember, several other things, the controversies in the National Assembly. However, a former chairperson of the NDDC at one time said that it's not necessarily the Commission's fault, because Niger Deltans are always about sharing the money and not talking about development. So today, I want us to have, a knowledge about what the NDDC is about. I mean, you could Google that. I agree, but I want to hear from the horse's mouth, or not exactly the horse, but someone close to the, you know what I'm talking about, and so we can understand what the NDDC is about. Then we can then judge the contributions, to development in the Niger Delta, and then talk about the future, because the narrative that the NDDC is a cash cow is not something that augurs well with me, given that more than ever, given the economic realities, we in the Niger Delta, we need development. I mean, look at the economy. Look at how much you buy things. Imagine if we had a developed Niger Delta and we had people coming in to invest in the Niger Delta. A lot of things would be easier for you economically. And so I have with me in the studio, I've got a consultant and resource person, NDDC Project H.O.P.E initiative, in person of Blessing Fubara. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon, Kalana.
Yeah, welcome. You're trying to intimidate me with your voice.
No, not at all. Good afternoon, listeners.
Yeah, welcome. So let's start with the allegation that the NDDC is a cash cow. You're a consultant for the NDDC. How true or false is that statement?
First of all, I would like to state absolutely that, yes, I'm a consultant and the resource person for the Project H.O.P.E initiative of the NDDC, but I'm not a spokesman of NDDC. So right, for whatever I'll be saying here, I'll be saying in the capacity of my responsibility and with regards, of course, to the Project H.O.P.E initiative. But obviously, I'm a Niger Deltan, okay. So the issues of NDDC, we know everybody has had their own perspective and narrative of it. But above all, we all know the reason for the establishment of the NDDC. The commission was established with the core responsibility of ensuring and facilitating the rapid socio-economic development of the people and the region, making them economically prosperous and politically stable. Okay. So this, I think, would also be the angle that the judgment of the expectations of the people according to the deliverables in line with this mandate would be coming from. So the issue of NDDC being a cash cow and all of this, for me personally, I would think is a well asserted opinion owing to the antecedent of the trajectory that we've had, within the times in programs, implementations, and objectives in line with the expectations of the people of what it should be. But again, that for me, I think, should be a welcome note to the Commission in times like this. In times like this, I mean, as it should be a rebirth and a rewind of the Commission and the mandate, to the people.
Now, before you talk about a rebirth, before you can say you want to change a narrative, you first and foremost understand the narrative, right? From your perspective, first as a Niger Delta and now a consultant, can you say the Niger Delta over the years, since its inception in 2001, has done fairly okay? Or what will you score the NDDC?
Now, first of all, it's not about scoring the NDDC. What we'll look at first, like I started with, is the reason for the establishment of the commission. Again, you will agree with me that we're people that has been overtly misrepresented and misunderstood.
Of course.
Because of the narrative that details the spirit of our agitation, during the process of we trying to clamor for a better living, simply that, because of our resources and all of this.
Yeah.
Now, this gave rise to what we call struggle in the region. Don't also forget, because of these agitations, immediately all hands had to be on deck to provide solutions, immediate solutions. Intervention agencies were created, ministries were created, departments were created to look into the issue of rapid facilitation of the development of the region and the people to meet up to this yearning. Now, at this point in time, if we say we want to score NDDC, how many of these organizations are we going to be scoring? We all know what the narrative has been. We all know what the extent has been.
And that's why my question, you me explain my question. NDC was better was because it intervened to what's happening in the Delta, we can say it's happening in the Niger. But they're fed in terms of intervening.
Relatively, the question, if you answer it relatively, the areas where they've done so well.
And
I'm coming, sir.
Okay.
Even though these areas they've done so well might not be according to the people's expectation, because what were the modalities and parameters that was used in these implementations? Now, within the time we've seen, it's been a lot of construction coming from the commission.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's terranean and regional development, we say infrastructure, that's fine. But the issue of the livelihood of the people, which they have also would have been doing a lot as a Niger Delta. But for me, like I said, we're here for the Project Hope because we feel hope has come as last. And this is the reason why the Project Hope is here, because we feel things has either been underreported or underdone because it wasn't done with a parameter. We feel things would have either been misrepresented or misdone. Why? Because it was not done from the people's assessment. A lot of parameters and indices you must have before you get implementations right. So we are here with hope, and we want to identify and define the kind of hope practically that we have now with the new NDDC.
Oh, so you're saying there's a new NDDC, right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I would say there's a new NDDC in the context that there's a new board, of course, that was put in place before the change of government. That board administratively, in principle, is still carrying on by the directives of the law as it was described and directed. Now, when the board came in, the board also came in with a strategy that was seen as a rebirth and a rewind of the process of delivery in NDDC.
So a Niger Delta now should, because like you said, and I'm using your words now, that the Niger Delta, the average Niger Delta would not, score, despite the fact that the NDDC might have scored certain projects, but would not see the NDDC in that light because the expectations have not been met, right? So now, given that situation, and you're talking about a rebirth, can we then argue that, or can the average Niger Delta then look at the NDDC and say, you know what, maybe I should give them another try, another chance?
Beautiful. Now, in scoring the NDDC, the trajectory behind the dispositions and implementations of the NDDC wasn't the NDDC alone. This perception cuts across every MDA of government. Okay. There's been a doubt of sincerity of purpose and pattern of implementation in government strategies and programs. So it's like directly to an NDDC administration. Now we have a new government at the top. The new government has come with some semblance of, credible performance in terms of policy, administration, and all. We can't rate the government starting now. I am not a politician, but we can also see it from the MDAs of government and interventionist agencies of government that relates to NDDC, and where we can now believe that if they say it's a rebirth and rewind, the first thing first is, should we see and assure and confirm sincerity of purpose in program planning and delivery? If that is yes, then of course, for the betterment of ourselves as a people, we've done ourselves so much harm. There are lots of factors that has inhibited delivery from even the NDDC, not just about the perspective or narrative. We talk about the political interference, we talk about administrative will, we talk about administrative focus. All of this within the time. There's an act for the establishment of the board of the commission. You ask a question, how many boards have we had concurrently that has transcended into completing its board? This has been always influenced by political wills and administrations, even when it seems to have been gotten right. Another thing again that you look at is administrative will and focus. The board in place, whether it's a sole administrator, whether it's a constituted board or otherwise, what's the administrative will and focus of this board? This is where you now look at where the narrative should be implemented rightly or newly. And the board that came in showed this, because first of all, they looked at internal administrative settings and organs. I am not a spokesman for NDDC,
you mentioned that.
But of course, being a consultant,
yes.
I see now internally that internal administrative structures were being re-regulated to make to function well, to also serve the people well. Then they went into engagements for needs assessment through the different areas. This is the area that also brought people like us on board through the recommendations of the needs assessment engagement of the different youth groups and associations. This is first good step to take, that you see that, okay, let's look at this people. What was this recommendation? From the recommendations, that's where we also had this cry that you started with about the pattern, the narrative. People have lost trust in sincerity of purpose and in implementation. Now, for the board to show, for the NDDC to show that it is time for real business, they said, okay, for youth concern, can we now have a parameter? The parameter to do needs assessment, to do proper potential resource identification, to do proper analysis of resource potentials, so we can develop ourselves by ourselves with ourselves. That's the essence of Project Hope. We'll come there.
All right. Okay. Now, I like how you put it, and like you said, I'm being educated, and as much a lot of people listening are also being educated, because the narrative has been what I explained it to be.
Of course.
I mean, a former governor also mentioned it. It's not like
but I will tell you something. The governor have been known for his stance, on issues that need strong attention. So what he has said at this time, why I say is a welcome development coming at the right time, is the NDDC is also seated up and ready to change that narrative.
All right. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, let's focus on the Niger Delta. When you look at the Niger Delta, can we say, because you mentioned that there have been a needs assessment, right?
Yes.
What really are the problems? Because I was going to ask, can we say infrastructural deficit is the only problem in the region? What really, after the needs assessment that bettered your coming into the commission, what really are the problems?
I think if I take it in my own term, we'll say the problem we've had has been understanding ourselves, knowing ourselves, and of course mapping a roadmap for ourselves. I give you an instance where we've had funds from different agencies. Like I said, look at the Presidential Amnesty Program. They had a core mandate of identifying these agitators, training them, reintegrating them, and empowering them. For all of the sects of this program as it was drawn out, we'll ask the question, what was the parameter that was used in all of this program, and what's the outcome of the program? But a lot was being put in. A lot of marks would have been made if they had a system to properly monitor and evaluate results.
I would have to pause you now. We've got a commercial break coming up. So after the commercial break, we'll get to, learning more. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
to Hard Facts.
All right, it's the bottom of the hour. You're listening to 92.3 Niger Info. I am Kala Dakurubatubo. And you're listening to Hard Facts. And we've been talking about the NDDC and the Niger Delta. And my guest, Blessing Fubara, who is a consultant and resource person, NDDC Project H.O.P.E. And we've been talking about the NDDC. And he's been telling me about... anyways, I'm going to go back to him. I don't want to do a recap on his behalf. You were talking about the needs assessment, and you were trying to explain how the needs assessment is, brought about a new NDDC. Before we get to, some of the things, can you continue from where you stopped, where you said the needs assessment looked into several parts of the Niger Delta? What are some of these parts? And then
I stopped with the implementation of the presidential amnesty scheme.
Okay.
And of course, their core mandates.
All right.
Now, the question we asked there is, if you look at that program, it was all about the attention to the youth and the region. If you look at the formation of the Ministry of Niger Delta, it was also all about giving attention to the region. Then we got to the purpose of the Act and the establishment of the Act of the NDDC. It's all same thing. Now, lots of money has been put in, like I said, into different sectors, yeah? But of course, when you're trying to solve a problem, if you don't have a proper parameter to solve this problem, if you didn't do proper identification of the issues you have, I'm not sure you can have a sustainable solution for these problems. So we can't just discredit that within these times, these commissions and agencies have not done anything. They would have done a lot. But of course, how much has it impacted, which is the question, on the people?
Now, the reason why I asked you about needs assessment is, I'm looking at your portfolio yet again. It says consultant and resource person, NDDC Project H.O.P.E.
Yes.
Which is, there is a project.
Yes.
But have you done the needs assessment for the people? And
okay,
that's the...
So why don't we just get to the project? The Project H.O.P.E., like it's christened, it's an acronym for Holistic Opportunities, Projects and Programs for Engagement. Now, literally, we think the youth and the region needs hope. A hope that, yes, things would work for real, for the purpose of the people that we are. But this hope should not just be set to the people. For you to give hope to the youth, then you must create holistic opportunities of programs and projects that would benefit them for engagement, which the first phase of the Project H.O.P.E. is for us to do needs assessment, to identify ourselves, who we are, our educational qualification, our skills qualification, our interests, our passion, and our employment status. When we do this, we have a system that immediately analyzes these potentials for onward engagement. When we say onward engagement, what do we mean? Once you have this parametered information, you will know the areas where you need to create platforms for those that are doing businesses, that are entrepreneurs from the region. You know the areas where you need to create platforms to do skills development as against skills acquisition. We spend a lot of money telling people to come and learn skills. How about the people that we've trained all of this while? How about the people that are already doing so well by themselves in their own skills that just need some platform to also generate or create jobs for others? Without you doing a proper needs assessment, you cannot identify these people. So the NDDC is saying, okay, well, we've had a lot of critics talk about our pattern and our ways. Thank God for the board now that has come, that has said, okay, among some of the things that we talked about that inhibits, the delivery, one was administrative will.
Yeah.
And for this board has shown that by saying, let's first break the jinx. Where are those people we've trained before? Can we identify them through a system? Identifying them to know, were they certified? What was the extent of training? How long? Where did we stop them? Where are they? What are they doing now? For some of them that were certified and properly trained, if they need some level of platform, engagement, monify, or whatever it is for their business, a commission would do it better to do, because it will now open opportunity for one or two others. We look at the people that are already doing well in their areas of entrepreneurship. We know that in that case, if you want to enable an entrepreneur, you look at giving business facility. We know what the hustle and the tussle is for on-lending from the commercial banks, the high collateralization and profit level. But as a commission, we have made plans now to say, okay, hence we can identify these people properly and authentically. Why don't we, through the schemes of the money file that the commission already has, share this money through the commercial banks to them? No collateralization, no interest base, but we must be sure that we're dealing with genuine business.
Can I pause you now? So you're saying that one of the new directions of the commission, for Niger Deltans is to focus on human capital development.
Not just human capital development, people's development and regional development.
And human development. Now we're saying the same thing. Human, just different grammar, the same thing. So you're saying that you want to build individuals.
What we're saying is we're identifying who we are and identify our resource potential, so we can enable these resource potentials for professionals, for skilled people, for unskilled people, for entrepreneurs, and a holistic program to engage us according to our resourcefulness.
All right. So what else are you guys looking at, the NDDC now and Project Hope?
Okay, the Project Hope, like I said, is in two ways. The first phase is the Niger Delta Youth Resource Database System, which we flagged off on the 12th of July. Now, the coalition is ongoing. In fact, unprecedentedly, from when we flagged off till now, we have in every day the data grows. As at yesterday to this morning, we're well over 10,000. And we think we have started analyzing these data immediately, because one of the reasons why we're keeping strategic communication of the project is that area of sincerity of purpose and doubts in implementation, because we must all agree that it is time for us to develop ourselves, for it to work well, and to also show this genuineness and sincerity of purpose. We want to also get into engagement processes immediately. We reeled out different schemes that is prepared now for us to indulge in engaging the potentials that we have already started analyzing in the system. One of them, we looked at the area of allied agro-industrial farm processors establishment. We looked at the area of the music and arts industry. We looked at the areas of tech. The techpreneurs today around the world, we know, build a new economy that generates job. We looked at the area of Monify, entrepreneurial support, business support. For all of these schemes, we have outlined how many persons, through professionals, through skilled, through unskilled, and labor people that can be engaged. Hence, we came up with the 9,000 jobs, 9 industries for the 9-state scheme, which is the Project 999 for the Project Hope.
Now, I have 2 questions, and then we'll open the phone lines so we can hear from Niger Deltans. The first one is, how do you intend to capture the rural areas? You've talked about the cassava farmers, agro stuff, 1. You've talked about the music, creative arts, 2. You've talked about techpreneurs. You've talked about the Monify and all of that. Now, the question is, in all of these things, how do you capture? Because while agriculture, yes, it's done mostly in some rural areas, there are other places where we've got fishermen. There's some other places where, things are really rough. So how do you capture these other people in this your project? Okay,
so we take it properly for people to understand before we even go to the skill set for them. Basically, like you said, the project for us is to identify our resourcefulness, our potentials, to develop us. Now, when we say Niger Delta, you specifically we're looking at people between the ages of 18 to 45. Yes, we've flagged off around the world. Any Niger Deltans can also go on board and register. But again, we also consider this set of people because urbanization and education is not a criterion for skills and skills development. So the commission has also directed that we establish registration centers around the 185 local governments of the region. The reason is there are people that would not have easy accessibility of internet and the facility of registration. And if we must carry everybody on board, if it must be holistic, you must also meet these people. So from the 12th of August, which is symbolically International Youth Day, we're flagging off the commencement of the local government registration centers so we can meet the people directly and do offline collations.
second question.
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping this will not be like, every other noble idea that we've birthed in the Niger Delta that never got implemented. Because yet again, you talked about implementation as one of the factors in beating the success in the time past of the NDDC.
Absolutely.
So I hope this is not yet again another idea.
First of all, they said for a good dancer, from the start of the dance step, we will know.
Okay.
Now we have put something that we've never thought a board or an administration will come and want to put to track themselves for sincerity of delivery. Because for now, for the system that has been launched, it shows the credibility or readiness of the commission to deliver. Because if you say you've engaged 1,000 persons, everybody would see. You will have a record, an open record of these 1,000 persons, and you're not engaging these 1,000 persons according to your own organogram. You engage them according to their own identified potentials. This is going to absolutely be sustainable. But talking about the reality of it, this is again one of the reasons why we're also taking up the strategic communication. We must first see the system and see the process. If you see the process, there must be a time for you to allow the process to see if this process will meet the times and what the process has promised to do before we start the disbelief. Even though we know that the system of the past has built these issues of distrust in projects and programs of MDAs and government. But again, we're saying that from the planning, from what we're seeing from the Project Hope, from the production of the skills and people that we even want to use, which we will reel out again from the first stage, people would now know that yes, this would work for real.
All right, let me pause you now because it's time for me to take calls from the listeners. If you're listening, this is your time. Let's hear from you. The Niger Delta, he's told us, our guest has told us that there is a rebranding. And so the question I have in my head, and I want you to help me answer it, is how can we benefit from the Niger Delta? If you're in Niger Delta or you reside in the Niger Delta and you can hear my voice from maybe Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, whatever you can hear my voice from, how do you think, what's the best way, in what ways can we as a people benefit from the NDDC? Now, I like the way he started. I was trying to actually rope him into a corner to tell me, give me some juicy details about you, because you never really get them in the studio every time. So I was trying to get some juicy, but he said something. He said, we need to understand what the commission is about, and it's an interventionist agency. Of course, we know that, but he reminded us. And he said, they have come to intervene in the problems, and that's why they have rebranded. That's why there's a rebirth. And he said, I wonder why I'm doing a recap for you, but he said that it is time for them to go beyond what they have been known for, and go beyond all of the factors that inhibited their successes. And so I'm wondering if we should believe, because I'm still a doubter.
Kalada, again, see where I want to come from before I get directly to the information, because talking of beliefs, what I'm here in the studio today is also to give specific numbers of jobs that will be engaging from Monday from the scheme. We'll get there.
Okay.
But again, we need to bet the media. We need to talk to you people in the media.
That's why
when we have a new project, when we have a new system building that has come to pledge proper actions, we need you behind us, because the spirit of the doubt makes sometimes we don't even give proper attention to the process of participation.
But that
should make us have the benefits of whatever actions
that does not take away my doubt. Anyways, it does not take away my doubt. But anyways, I'm going to go to the phone lines now because I want you to tell me, how do you think we can unearth the NDDC? I mean, yes, let all things pass away now.
Thank you.
I'm still doubting. 0817-923-0002. It's the first number to call. 0817-923-0003 is the second number to call. And you can do WhatsApp 0809-030 6416 is the number, or better still go on Facebook. We're live, Niger Info PH, on Twitter, now X. I need to learn that. Now X, we're active there, Niger Info PH. On YouTube, we're live, Niger Info PH. Go to the comment section and drop your comment. But I've got Promise, and Promise is calling me from MOR. Promise, greetings to you. Welcome.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, good evening to you, Promise. Welcome. Let's talk.
I'm listening to what your colleague is just saying on the...
My guest, you mean?
On the radio now. My brother, I just want to tell you my own mind. I see NDDC office as where they settle people after the election. Because we, the Niger Delta, we are not achieving anything from NDDC. They're only after seeing the money, they share the money according to how they are in the office. Even today, some persons they give contract to, they will not complete the contract, they will collect their money.
So promise. Now the question I'm asking you is, how then can we change the narrative? How can we ensure that NDDC actually delivers to the people of the Niger Delta?
Thank you. They should now, we want to really help Niger Delta. They should send people to each of the community in the local government.
And do
find
what?
out how the people is doing.
Okay.
And they will know where they will help.
Okay. All right then. All
Kalada,
right.
Kalada,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Kalada, can I say something to you?
Can I? Okay.
Temple, we're saying thank you to you because you confirmed something now. You see, he came up with the old story, which we all agreed that anybody you ask before this time, this has been what the narrative is, owing to some of the reasons that you and I x-rayed here as well. Then he now came up with a recommendation. And what not he's not sounding. No, let's be real with this, calendar. That's to tell you that we know where we are headed to now. The recommendation, he said, send people to the local government. Temple, don't worry, from the 12th of August, people are coming to the local government to find out what you need.
Pause now, please. I've got Bob from Port Harcourt. Hello, Bob. Welcome on the show.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, well done, Kaladi, and to the transition. You're waiting for so long.
Oh, sorry about that.
Sorry. I tried to enter my details on the link that was provided for this project H.O.P.E recently, but what I'm going through, maybe as a consultant, if it's okay, I can try again.
It has been very okay, sir. A lot of people had these issues. I think it has to do with the network around you or the speed, but it's been very okay. A lot of people have been registering. So if you did before and you couldn't, please do. It's been open. It's been quite stable.
It's okay. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck from Anthony. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good evening, Kalata.
All of the above. Welcome on the show. Good
and blessing Fubara.
Good evening, brother.
So your question, how can we benefit from NDDC? First is to have politicians to put their hand off the body. And second, each time you have programs like this or projects like this, you should be able to reach to the localities. And I'm still saying that we need NDDC office, like sub-office, in the localities. Not just everything at Port Harcourt, so that we at the rural areas, we can reach to your office. It's wrong. It's wrong. Are you just to develop Port Harcourt alone? Bring your office down here so that you can easily reach to the people can easily get to you and tender their complaints. Like as I'm talking to you now, my community Bokuma. If you wear your shoe, you see that the mud will collect your shoe, the road will collect your shoe, or you better pull it and hold it in your hand before you walk into the community. Vehicle cannot come in. I'm afraid of this project. Even as you said that by August you'll be bringing this project to the localities, like the registration. I'm afraid politicians will hijack it because I'm making reference to this World Bank issue. Do you know that the employment that was being done to help the poor people? I saw civil servants being involved in the case, and those I know to be the real poor people in my community are not favored.
All right.
This thing was like is being hijacked by politicians. Is whosoever they decide to favor, that is who gets the opportunity.
All right.
So how can we continue like this?
All right.
Good luck. If I have not been able to tune my radio now, I wouldn't have heard about this.
All right, good luck.
Like
Good luck. Thank you
don't
very
have light. I managed to tune my radio to jump some of
Thank
your
you very
programs
much.
sometimes.
Your 2 minutes is up.
Pathetic. Good luck. It's quite pathetic, but I want to reassure you with hope that this is the reason why we're here in the studio.
All right, we've got Justice from Iwofe. Justice, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, go ahead, Justice.
I want to say before contracts are awarded, beautiful ideas will be, shared, just like is being stated. And this has been common. We can't just stop talking about the reality because it has become.
Justice, your connectivity is poor. Can you hear me? Oh, sorry, Justice. Sorry, I can't hear you. Try again. NDD from Port Harcourt, welcome.
Good afternoon, Canada.
Yeah, good afternoon, welcome. Or good evening, whichever.
Yeah, this, my name is Fubara. This project Hope. I tried to log in the other day and to undergo the registration online. I want to find out whether the website requires BVN of the applicant, because I saw where they say BVN and I became apprehensive because I don't want to put my BVN and at the end of the day I am being in the hands of this.
But your BVN. I don't know if you listened last week Friday when we had the banker in the studio. Your BVN cannot be used to scam you.
Can I also answer this?
Your BVN is used for identification. I think we talked about it on Friday.
Can I answer this, Kalada? Even though it's a silent question he's asked at the back end as well, we've had to talk to a lot of people about this. I would have started from where you started from, which is quite notable. The BVN connectivity can only be authenticated by a response from you with codes through your number. So that means that's not possible. But secondly, yes, we're asking of BVN. The reason why we ask is for the people that are in business that we have to give funds to. One of the criteriums for us to authenticate that you're a genuine entrepreneur is you must have a registered business name, even if it's just business name registration. Then you should be able to have an account, a business account that shows the business name and the business account. We're not looking at how much you have. After all, we're coming to enable you. But this would help us identify those persons that are genuinely in business. So yes, we are asking of BVN, but your data is 100% secured, not to go to any other hands.
All right, so we are approaching the last 2 minutes of the show. So can you wrap up? What are your final words to Niger Deltans?
I'm saying finally, hope has finally come. We're not saying the hope just by mere statement to them. We are ready to deliver holistic opportunities of programs and projects for youth engagement. So we're calling on first every youth between 18 to 45 to go on to www.ndjobskillsdb.ng. That's www.ndjobskillsdb.ng. Identify yourselves.
Some people have been saying the link isn't working. Yet again, I asked you the question about the project being hijacked. What is it with the link not working? Because more than one people messages everything.
Now Nigerians were always used to. I'll give you an example of somebody that I attended to this morning. He was on call with me and he said, God, try and enter the system, and the system never open, never worked. Then immediately I tapped the system near me and the site was up. Then I told him, I said, please, can you enter properly? Then he did. He said, it's up. Then he asked again. He said, God, they tried to register my name, never enter. We are talking to people. We'll continue talking to the people.
All right.
The system is working. People are registering. Be patient enough with your internet and your connectivity and get on board.
I've got to let you go now. Thank you very much
for your time.
And I hope when we call the NDDC will answer, please.
We're always ready with you. We're also calling on your partnership to see to the practical implementation of this.
All right, then. Thank you very much. And let's go for another commercial break. Conversations continue.